Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, I'm willing to bet you can find the cold front here on this map, dissecting the Corn Belt, across portions of Wisconsin down into the southern plains. We've got a warm and unstable air mass out ahead of that. Warm and humid air mass, temperatures in the mid-60s in advance of that cold front. Much colder air coming in on the backside, though, and it is along that frontal boundary that we're going to see active weather here over the next 24 to 48 hours. You can check out the satellite picture here. We already have active weather along that frontal boundary, some thunderstorms ongoing across parts of the central and southern plains during the overnight. And as we flip it over and look at the radar picture here, between 4 and 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, here's our developing area of low pressure across the central plains. We've got tons of moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico up and over the top of that frontal boundary. So as we get started today, already an area of showers and thunderstorms ongoing along that frontal boundary from the Great Lakes back into the central and southern plains. And again, we have a mixed bag here. Winter weather on the backside, severe weather possible on the warm side of the storm system as we head through the next 24 to 48 hours. And of course, we still have Eta meandering around in the Gulf, and that will be something that's going to bring some additional moisture down to the Gulf Coast as we make it to the end of the week into the weekend. But looking at the map on the left there, we have a big area of winter weather advisories here. The purple shading, we've got an ice storm warning across parts of eastern Nebraska into west central Iowa. Also an ice storm warning here across parts of southern Minnesota. And then the pink shading in there, we've got a winter storm warning across parts of east central Minnesota into northwest Wisconsin for some significant snow accumulation. So talking about a mix of ice accumulation and some snow on top of that on the backside. And then as we look at the warm sector, we're talking about the chance for a few strong storms across parts of northern Missouri. I'm talking about this map over here, where you see the yellow shading there, northeast Missouri, eastern Iowa, northwestern, west central Iowa, and even southern Wisconsin. Can you believe it? On November 10th, we're talking about a slight risk for severe thunderstorms in southern Wisconsin, but such is life when you've got a potent storm system like this and you've had a warm, humid air mass just kind of sitting over the area. So here's the next 7 days of total precipitation forecast, and this counts two storm systems. We've got the one over this region right now, and then we have a second system that's going to come swinging through here as we get into the weekend, bringing some additional moisture to the region. But we're going to really focus on the first storm system right now across the Corn Belt over the next couple of days. And again, here's the cold front, just situated right here across parts of Oklahoma, northeastward into southern Wisconsin. And then once again, it's out ahead of that cold front where we have the chance for some severe weather later today in the form of, again, some strong storms producing gusty winds, maybe a tornado or two. And then here where we've got the cold air, the sub-freezing temperatures, or at least near freezing at the surface, that's where we get the ice accumulation and the snow on the backside of the storm system. So as we head through the next day or so, that cold front really starts to move off to the east. It's been slow going, but again, we're going to develop an area of low pressure here across the central plains that's going to ride up and along that frontal boundary, and that's going to help get this front moving here, get a little more of an easterly component. So this is what it looks like here as we get to about sunset this evening, as the sun goes down 5, 6 o'clock this evening. Again, warm and humid out ahead of that air mass, or ahead of that cold front, and that's where we could have the chance for some strong storms along that front. And then, of course, the cold air coming in on the backside, that's where we'll have the winter weather impacts. And as we get into tomorrow morning, that cold front should clear just about the entire Corn Belt, still making its way through eastern portions of Kentucky and Tennessee during the first half of the day tomorrow. So here's a look at the high-resolution NAM model, the precipitation forecast. We'll go ahead and bring it back to about sunrise on Tuesday morning. Again, we're just talking about kind of a broad area of showers and thunderstorms ongoing along that front with some snow starting to begin on the backside. As we head through the rest of the morning hours, this is when we'll see that ice accumulating across eastern Nebraska, transitioning over to snow as we get to the mid-afternoon hours. And then by the time we get to sunset, most of this is probably pulling away from eastern Nebraska. So snow tapers off across eastern Nebraska as we get to the late afternoon and evening hours, and then continues off to the northeast across northwest Iowa into southern Minnesota, and then eventually northwest Wisconsin as we get into the early overnight hours. Now let's bring it back. Let's talk about the warm sector. Let's talk about the chance for a couple strong storms developing along the cold front as we get into the early afternoon hours. These storms would initially be in eastern Iowa, down into portions of northeastern Missouri. Again, initially talking about the chance for maybe a tornado or two in that area, but more broadly speaking about the threat of some gusty winds along the leading edge of these storms. We'll likely get some line segments, maybe a solid line of storms here as we get into the later afternoon and evening hours. This is what the high-resolution NAM model has for us right around 6 o'clock this evening, 7 o'clock. And then perhaps as we head into the late evening hours, watching a squall line move across the state of Illinois with, again, just some strong wind gusts expected to be the primary threat with that. There is the risk for an isolated tornado or two. Any tornado activity should be short-lived, though, and relatively isolated. I think if we're talking about severe weather today, it's likely going to be some strong wind gusts. So, as we get into the evening here, the sun goes down. We've got our squall line across Wisconsin into Illinois. We've got our winter storm ongoing across Minnesota and northwest Wisconsin. This continues to move off to the east as we head into the overnight hours. This is midnight now, and then we'll take it into sunrise on Wednesday morning. Maybe some showers and storms lingering across eastern Kentucky and Tennessee, portions of eastern Ohio, snow pulling away from Minnesota and Wisconsin, and that's going to lead us into a quiet end to the work week before another storm system comes through over the weekend. We'll be talking about strong winds today. We've got a wind advisory in effect across parts of Missouri and Illinois, where winds are going to be gusting out of the south up to 40 miles per hour at times, especially as we head through the afternoon hours. This is right around 4 p.m. We're looking at our peak wind gusts across the area. And at this point, peaking across the state of Illinois into southern Wisconsin. Again, this is the warm sector, so this is where we've got those strong southerly winds bringing in that warm and humid air mass. So it'll be windy, but warm and windy out ahead of that frontal boundary. Those strong surface winds, that just aids in the wind shear that's available there for the chance for a couple of strong storms along that front. And then as we head into the overnight hours, those strong winds continue to push off to the east. They'll be howling across the state of Michigan, down into Indiana and Missouri, Ohio, as we head into the overnight hours. Not quite so intense on the backside, though. So as this front pulls away, temperatures will drop, but the winds will also begin to subside as well. As we head into the day on Wednesday, those winds will be much calmer across the central and eastern Corn Belt, starting to become breezy again as you head back toward the northern plains. So total ice accumulation here between now and the end of the day. Again, much of this pulling away as we get to the afternoon hours. We're talking about a couple of a tenths of an inch here, maybe a tenth to 2/10 of an inch from parts of eastern Nebraska into northwest Iowa, into southern Minnesota. I am having a hard time with my states this morning. And then total snow accumulation from this system, we're talking about 3 to 6 inches here across parts of central into northeastern Nebraska. The high spot here where we have that winter storm warning in effect, where we could touch 6 inches or maybe a little bit higher in some select areas, that's going to be across the western border of Iowa and Minnesota, and then getting into portions of northwest Wisconsin. Total liquid precipitation, where we've got more of the shower and thunderstorm activity, we could get anywhere from a half an inch to maybe upwards of 2 inches from parts of northeast Iowa into central and southern Wisconsin. Now, where we have the severe weather threat, precipitation going to be a little bit lighter. It's going to be focused along that cold front, a quick moving line. Instead of having showers and storms ongoing all day, it's just going to be a quick hit or miss opportunity here as we head through the late afternoon into the evening hours. Now, quickly, we'll take a look at what we've got as we head into the weekend. Now, here's the disturbance that is triggering the winter storm impacts and the severe weather, and also bringing the cold front through the region here over the next 24 to 36 hours. We've then got this next wave that pivots around the base of that trough as we head into the end of the week, and that's what's going to bring us that chance for just some rain across the area and maybe even a little bit of snow additionally as we head into the weekend. So here's a look at that. We'll take a look at the precipitation forecast from the European model. Starting out on Tuesday, this is Tuesday midday, again with that severe weather threat across Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. The winter weather impacts here across Nebraska, pushing into Iowa, into southern Wisconsin, really cranking up across Minnesota and northwest Wisconsin as we head into the overnight hours, with showers and storms pushing across the eastern Corn Belt into the overnight. This is what we got Wednesday evening then. High pressure builds in on the backside here. That's going to quiet us down. Maybe the chance for some snow flurries across the Dakotas on Thursday morning, pushing into parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin as we get into Friday morning. Now here comes our next disturbance as we get into the weekend. The next one that brings some rain in organized fashion to the mid-Mississippi Valley. This is Saturday morning now, midday Saturday, getting into Saturday evening, Saturday night, and then into Sunday. So I'll kind of wobble back and forth, and we'll talk more about this as we get into the later part of the week. But this is kind of what the picture looks like here Saturday into Sunday. It's another chance for some wintry precipitation in the north across Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then another chance for some additional shower and thunderstorm activity across parts of across parts of Missouri, and then on into the eastern Corn Belt here, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee as we get into Saturday and Sunday. So total precipitation between now and Thursday, so the next 60 hours on the left, and then the next week on the right. So this is the storm system here that's just impacting us now over the next 24 hours, and this is when you add in the weekend storm system. Again, not a huge change, but we will bring in some additional moisture to this corridor likely as we head into the weekend. And then as we talk about temperatures, really the pattern wants to stay relaxed and loosely ridged across the midsection of the U.S. So while we will bring in some cooler temperatures, this run of 70-degree days across the central and eastern portions of the Corn Belt is going to come to an end over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're broadly going to keep things above average as we head into the middle and late part of November. So even though we cool down, we're still going to be talking about a lot of days in the 50s here across the midsection of the U.S. as we wrap up the month of November. So the next 5 days, your high temperatures today, again, out ahead of the cold front, mid-70s for your highs across the eastern Corn Belt today, 30s and 40s behind the front. We do cool down as we head into the middle part of the week, but you notice that, look, the cold front moves through, but we are still above average across the central and eastern Corn Belt. High temps in the mid-50s, and that is going to linger all the way into the weekend.